How you doing? I'm Darren with Kickin Barbecue. If this is your first time to the channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Today, we're talking smoked Mississippi pot roast. Now, this thing was all the rage in the past year or two on the internet, and like always, I'm late to the trend, but I've wanted to do a video on this for a while, so that's what we're gonna be doing today. It's a super basic recipe. It only has a few ingredients. We have a chuck roast, we have a stick of unsalted butter, we have some pepperoncinis, we have some au jus and some ranch packets, and then we just have a few basic seasonings to make this our own. So let's bring you in and show you how we're gonna prep this smoked Mississippi pot roast. All right, so to prep our smoked Mississippi pot roast, we have a very nice chuck roast here. You can see we have a lot of nice intermuscular marbling in there. It looks really fantastic already. And we're just gonna be using a few basic seasonings and spices on this. Right here, I just have some Diamond Crystal Kosher salt. And you want to go kind of light on the salt because you have salt in the au jus and you have salt in the ranch packet. So if you're worried about your salt intake, you can definitely omit this part of it as far as salting it. But I'm just going to go light on it. Then we'll flip it over and repeat the process on the other side. And like I said, we're just going pretty light on this salt because there's so much other salt in all the other ingredients. We don't want to have an overly salty pot roast, especially since we're making sandwiches with it. So that is looking good to me. We'll get our edges just by picking up any excess on the board. And that is going to be it for our salt. Now at this point, we're just going to come in with some coarse black pepper. Now I really like black pepper, so I'm going to go fairly heavy with it. Obviously, you can do this to whatever your taste preference is, but I am a huge fan of black pepper, so I'm going fairly heavy with it. And this nice coarseness of it is going to help build us a decent bark. This isn't going to be in the smoke too long, maybe 2.5 hours tops. We're just going to be cooking until we get a nice color on this, and then we're going to be wrapping it up and getting it tender. And the smoke that we're going to get from our Cookin Pellets Hickory Pellets is going to do a fantastic job in such a short amount of time due to the fact that it smokes wonderfully at such a high temperature. All right, and that is looking fantastic. The last thing we're coming in with is just some granulated garlic. I got this at Costco. It's a really good garlic, and I love garlic, so I'm going to go fairly heavy with this as well. Repeat the process on the other side, and then we'll get our edges. We'll pick up any excess we have on the board. All right, you can see we have our chuck roast seasoned up here. It looks awesome. It smells really good. That garlic smells fantastic. This is a really nice granulated garlic. I highly recommend getting that from Costco if you haven't tried it before. So at this point, we're gonna get the Traeger fired up. We're gonna be cooking on the Ironwood 885 today. Like I said, I have the hopper loaded with the Cookin Pellets Hickory Pellets, and we're gonna be cooking this at 275 degrees for about 2 to 2.5 hours. Just get a little bit of smoke flavoring on there, and then we're gonna wrap it up, and that's where all these other ingredients are gonna come into play. But we don't have to worry about that yet. We just wanna get some really good smoke on there, start to like brown this up a little bit. If you're familiar with cooking regular pot roast in the crock pot, you typically would sear this off, get a nice crust, and then get it in the crock pot. We're gonna be getting that nice crust from using our smoker. So I'm gonna go get the Traeger fired up, and I will meet you guys outside when it is time to get this chuck roast on the cooker. All right, so we are out at the Traeger Ironwood 885. As you can see, it's nice and clean. This is my first cook on it. I just got it yesterday. Our chuck roast is looking absolutely fantastic. We're gonna leave this alone untouched for 2.5 hours, and then we'll come back and check on it, and I'll let you know how long it's been, but everything is looking fantastic. So see you in 2.5 hours. All right, so it has been 2 hours that we've had our chuck roast on. You can see we're starting to get some good color. We're sitting at about 165 degrees here. So at this point, we want to get this wrapped up with all our other goodies, and we want to get that wrapped up so we can get some of this fat render in our au jus and everything else to keep it nice and moist. So I'm going to get this in the house, and I'll bring you back and show you how we're going to wrap this up. So we'll see you then. All right, so you can see we got some great color on our chuck roast here. It's looking fantastic. Now we got to get all the other goodies in this pan that makes this a smoked Mississippi pot roast. Starting with 1 packet of Hidden Valley Ranch mix. We're just going to go over the roast. And remember, this is why we kind of went light on our salt on this roast, is because there's quite a bit of salt in this. So that's where we're getting our salty flavoring from. Next up, we're going to come in with our au jus gravy. Again, this has a high salt content, so that's why we went light on the salt on our seasoning. But this is going to help give a fantastic flavor on this, and we're going to get a really nice au jus. Next, we're going to come in with our pepperoncinis, and we're going to use about half of the liquid in the container just gonna get that all over. That looks good to me. And then we'll come in with our peppers. And use as many as you'd like. These aren't real hot to me, so I like to go pretty heavy with them. So we got about 10 of them in there. Next, we're gonna come in with 1 stick of butter. We're just gonna put that right on top. That's gonna melt all over it. We're gonna get some nice goodness out of there. Again, it's gonna help form our nice au jus, and that is all we need to do. Super simple, basic ingredients. So now let's get this covered up. And you wanna make sure you get the foil nice and tight on this pan so you don't have any steam coming out. We wanna make sure we get this nice and tender. It's probably gonna be 210, 250 degrees until this pulls apart fork tender. All right, so now we have this wrapped up nice and tight. I'm gonna get it back out onto the Traeger at 275 degrees, and I'm gonna bring it back when it's time to check it in about an hour just to see where we're at. I don't think it'll be done in an hour, but we'll check it, temp it, see where it's at. I'm guessing probably about 2 more hours on this cook. Now, at this point, you can put it in the oven if you'd like, but because we already have the Traeger going, we're just gonna get it out there and let it do its thing. So I'm gonna get this out there and I'll bring it back in 1 hour. All right, so we are 3 hours into this cook. It's been wrapped for 1 hour. We're just gonna go ahead and start probing for tenderness. We are sitting at about 202, 200, and it's feeling pretty tender. But we still got a little toughness right there at 200. So I'm gonna give it another half hour. So it'll be about a 3.5 hour total cook. And yeah, see 198 right there. So another half hour, this is gonna be done. I'll bring you back at that time, so we will see you then. All right, so it has been 30 more minutes. We're gonna go ahead and temp. You can see we're sitting at about 210 there. And more importantly, it is probing like butter. It feels wonderful. So I'm gonna call this done. We're gonna get it inside, let it rest for about 15, 20 minutes. Then we're gonna shred it up and do a taste test. So I'll see you in the house. All right, so there is our Mississippi pot roast. You can see we got a lot of au jus. Everything looks great. It smells fantastic. So I'm just gonna shred this up. We'll see how it is. All right, and there it is. There is our shredded Mississippi pot roast. Nicely coated with all the au jus. Everything looks fantastic, super nice and moist. I think I'm gonna try a little piece right now, just like it is. That is absolutely fantastic. You can see super tender, just falls apart. Could have been maybe a little bit longer in the wrap. Could have been a little bit more tender. You really can't overcook these as far as tenderness goes. You kind of got to go by feel on these. Could have maybe had another half hour in there, but I was losing daylight. It's good enough for home sandwiches, but definitely go by feel on this. You know, the temp is just a guideline. I'd say maybe up to 215 would have been a little bit better, but we still got the job done. So yeah, that looks fantastic. Let's bring you out. We're gonna do a taste test. We're gonna build us a nice sandwich and see how it turns out. So see you guys in just a second. All right, guys, so now is the moment of truth. We're gonna go ahead and build this sandwich and see how it is. I got some freshly baked buns here from my local bakery, and as far as I'm concerned, these are the way to go. Spent all this time cooking this meat. Get yourself a good bun. Get a pepper on there. Go ahead and smash that down. Cheers. One more bite just for quality assurance. You guys, this is absolutely fantastic. This nice soft bread with that nice tender meat. Get a bite from the pepper on there. The au jus. It's not overly salty, so keep in mind that was our goal, is to not have it too salty. Everything is so fantastic. Excuse me. You guys, if you haven't tried this already, I highly recommend it. It was about a 3.5 hour cook. Like I said, could have been a little bit more tender, just maybe another couple degrees, but that's okay. We still got it shredded. It's still absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend giving this recipe a try if you haven't. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, stay safe, and we will see you next time.